All right, blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning. Dave Petzo joining us, the Petzo Center, Petzo Financial. Petzo. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Kevin.
We take a look at this article that we were talking about just last segment and saying that Treasure Valley homes are so high that you've got a Wall Street firm saying we're ready for a sharp slowdown. In fact, we are number 2 to Nevada when it comes to overpricing homes, overvalued by 20 to 24%. What do you think of that?
Well, I think that's quite a prediction because the world is moving here, and when you do, you find that real estate becomes more and more valuable. There's more and more people, whether it's commercial real estate, that becomes more valuable, and housing prices become, as you are closer in. Do I think they're overpriced in the hinterlands, as you say, Kevin? Yeah, there's plenty of land around here, and I think they'll be finding it, and I think prices will moderate. As far as a sharp drop, I think it would take something pretty serious in the economy to cause a sharp drop in housing prices. But anybody can make a prediction.
Make a prediction, but you just take a look at just the prices of home going up. Prices overvalued by 10% to 14% in the first quarter of 2017. 15 to 19% in the first quarter of 2018, according to this Wall Street firm. And we don't have a lot of high-wage jobs here, sir. I mean, you cover this all the time in Money Matters, the idea of Wall Street versus Main Street. Is that a cause to be alarmed? And I know you're always skeptical of the media, but you're part of the media. You are the media.
Right, yeah. I am skeptical of the media. My part in the media is to be skeptical of the media. How's that? I think that we have to be skeptical of the stories because every time you turn around, everybody's talking about how the world is ending, the world is on fire, this is the most horrific thing ever. And all you want to do is slow down and say, look, this is a first world problem. High housing prices are a first world problem. It means people want to live where you are. It means businesses are vibrant. And wages are going up in this area. They're going up a lot. And so will they catch up and be like San Francisco? Of course not. And I don't think we want that. But at the same time, it's possible as people move here, you're going to see wages go up. They go up in places like Denver over the years. They're going to be going up in Boise, and they certainly are now. Right now, what we're seeing, Kevin, for job growth mostly is people that are moving here and creating businesses and or basically a little one or two shop two-person businesses on their own. So entrepreneurs, Boise is an entrepreneurial place.
Indeed, although to find a place to live.
Yeah.
I mean, look,
they'll solve that.
There's a problem going on here. There is a problem that people refuse to address. And, we're going to be out there on the weed. We're going to be out there on the opioids. We're out there on the getting rid of the grocery tax. So why not step out on this one? And you have people coming in. You have people building subdivisions with no water rights.
Well, that would be a heck of a problem for them, I would suspect.
You have
who's going to buy a house without water rights? Title company won't give it up.
You have people, out-of-state builders coming in from California, and they know nothing about this state. They don't care. They're throwing these homes up, and I can tell you from firsthand experience that there are HOAs having meetings where the subdivision is half complete and half of them have water rights and the other half do not. Now, we don't have a lot of water here to begin with, do we?
That would be called title insurance. That would be the builder paying the tune on that one. That's not something that we shouldn't worry about people coming in and building homes. What we're worried about is not having enough homes built, correct? And so if we have more homes that are out there for sale, prices will moderate. What we're running into is that prices can't moderate because so many people are moving in. They absorb all the supply, and of course prices go up. So as we're catching up on that will be a positive, not a negative, Kevin. And I wouldn't worry about the homeowners. They're not going to be having to eat this one.
I would disagree with you on that one. We're building too many homes. We don't have enough infrastructure. We've seen it recently. Accidents on Eagle Road, late at night, shutting it down. Accidents on 84, shutting it down for the entire day. Now, those people that live in Boise that are Boise-centric people, doesn't really matter. For people that use that thoroughfare throughout the day, I mean, it was miserable. They were stuck in traffic. Now, shouldn't your friend, Governor Little, start coming up with some type of committee to look at some type of outer loop or anything? I mean, we have infrastructure issues, do we not? Let's put a moratorium on growth.
So what you're saying is we don't want to let anybody come in. You're not the only person that says that. I understand, but I don't know how you go about stopping it. And people coming here, again, it creates jobs, it creates growth, it creates increased wages, and, yes, housing prices and more traffic. Look, I'm the same way. I want my Boise back, but you know what? You can't have it. And the opposite is worse. You get a place like Weiser that's going downhill. I always pick on Weiser. I got to find another little town to pick on, right? I'm not picking on them. I'm just saying they've got nothing going on, and all the people are leaving. I mean, all the young people leave. They graduate and leave, and that's not a good choice.
Young people are leaving here, though, too.
Yeah,
young people are leaving here. I mean, the majority of the people that are coming here are retirees from California. We've become the Florida of the West.
I disagree. I know you are hunkered down in the evenings very early, Kevin, as you have to be because you are up at 3:00 to give us the news items. But if you go to downtown Boise, trust me, and I'm an old guy too, but I was blown away at how vibrant it is, and it is almost every night of the week downtown, and it's full of young people, full of it.
Well, that doesn't mean that
not
they're all
old retirees.
I will say this on KIDO Talk Radio, 107.5 FM, 580 AM. You have people that are getting their education degrees, leaving the state. People that get their stuff in law enforcement, leaving the state. It has been addressed not by a lonely, curmudgeonly talk show host, but it has been addressed by your friend, the governor. It has been addressed by others that we have a huge brain drain, that people cannot find work where, with jobs that are affordable, that sort of thing.
Well, I don't really see a problem with Boise's growth. Again, we are growing like crazy. I think we're looking for problems if we're saying that people are leaving our great state, that they get an education and leave. Because the reality is if it does, then I don't know what we're being overwhelmed with. It's not all retirees, that's for sure, because we have an overwhelming number of people to your prior statement, which is there's too many people on Eagle Road.
There are so many people moving here that are retiring from California, and then we hear...
Wouldn't you?
I don't know. I can't speak to it. I've never lived in California. I've been there a few times, but it's, I couldn't speak to that. But back to, and I think that, again, you have people coming in, they're retiring. We had somebody the other day on a social media post wanting to ban a tree because they mistakenly thought all the pollen or the cotton was from the tree. And can't we ban these trees? It's crazy. So we have this situation. So you and I are going to agree to disagree about the growth issue. See, you talk to everybody that's driving right now, and they go, Kevin Miller is right. We have to do something. And whether it's a construction of an outer loop, whether it's expanding, putting these road expansions into high gear, I'd much rather see the state of Idaho spending $150 million on expanding roads than acquiring the HP campus.
Yep. Well, Kevin, I'm not going to disagree with you on the traffic problem and having a loop and thinking out in the future. This has gone on for a long, long time, and I don't know why the legislature hasn't moved on it. I don't know why we haven't gotten further along. They have plans at least to build out the Emmett Highway, and yet we still haven't done that. And so a loop...
That's just going to add more growth. That's just going to fuel more people.
So will a loop, Kevin.
If you do the Emmett to Star thing.
A loop will do that too, because you build it, they will come. If you have easier access to...
I'd rather have the loop, though, so they can have the trucks and the commerce just ease on out of the road.
It'll still bring growth. It'll just be like Denver, where you have kind of all these highways going around Denver, and then you put up these communities that pop up all over the place and grow like weeds.
See, if you like
subdivisions.
If you would adopt my plan, we wouldn't have to worry about it. By the way, I hear you talking to Dave Petzel about home prices. My home is paid for, but my taxes have gone up 64%. 64%. That's right, 64% from the last year, $8K to $13.4.
Yeah.
Boy, 64% in a year?
No, Kevin, I think this is outrageous, and I think the city of Boise, and I don't know about the other cities.
Let me just finish the sentence here. I know
you're just making me
here.
angry, too. So.
Well, that's good. I'm glad I'm not alone anymore. I've lived in my home for 22 years, and it's getting close to taxing me out of my home.
Mm-hmm.
What is going on, Dave Petzo?
Why don't you ask the mayor what's going on?
He's
I'm
too
serious.
busy cutting ribbons.
He's too busy working on bike lanes and taxing all the buildings in downtown like crazy. Building stadiums, all of these things. The revenues are just absolute. The amount of tax that we pay, the mill rate, and now all they're going to tell you is we're catching up to that, and you should be happy because the value of your house is going up. It's not. It's just like this gentleman's pointing out. Where am I going to live? He still has to live in a house. Right? So you say, well, my value is up. Who cares? The only person who's going to care is your kids when you're dead. That's the only person that cares because then they can sell the house. But for you, you have to simply come up with this ever-increasing cost. Look, seniors have a problem, and I'm not going to sit here with a problem. This is a first-world problem, I realize, but because nobody's really poor. But the reality is that you have fixed incomes for many people, and you have rising inflation in the three main areas. Otherwise, the rest of us don't have inflation. But you've got it in medical care, you've got it in travel to go see those grandkids, and you also have it in your property taxes. Taxes have gone through the roof, and we ought to have a surplus the size of a flipping mountain here in Boise, but we don't. We just get tax. We need more. Let's do more. And we get all this. And I understand that the city council and the mayor are supposed to try to build the most pretty little city, but this tax situation is out of hand. I got my assessment. I haven't got my tax bill, but I guarantee you that the value of my house didn't skyrocket this much in the last 25 or last 2 years.
That was
and the building downtown that I have is gone. It's absurd. It's obscene. And the amount of tax is terrible. What?
Chris was in Nampa, not even Boise.
All right. Well,
it's going up everywhere. Let's go to Robert in Caldwell on KIDO Talk Radio. Robert, good morning.
Good morning. So on this, with the amount of growth that's going on, I don't want to impose or tell.
Robert.
But these people that are building subdivisions and these big projects, are we putting in impact fees? And should we be putting impact fees that go directly to infrastructure? And I'm not anti-park or anything like that, but we got some really nice parks and some really crappy roads.
That's a very good point. Dave Petzo, your thoughts? It is. I don't disagree at all. We do have impact fees, right? And we are building great parks, and we should. We need open space. But the reality is we also need those roads, and they are raising impact fees. You've spoken a lot about this with your buddy Ahlquist, and how
Tommy Ahlquist.
Okay,
not Ahlquist. Tommy. Why are you anti-Tommy Ahlquist all of a sudden?
I'm not anti-Tommy Ahlquist. I was about to agree with what you guys were talking about.
I would not be
anti
Tommy Ahlquist if I were anybody.
I'm not. But at any rate, so you guys have been talking about it a lot, about the impact fees and all, and they do go for various things, whether it's sewer and all the other things. But I think more disclosure there is a very fair point. I don't know that was exactly what his point is, but I would like more disclosure as exactly where we're spending that money. Where does it go? If we're talking about infrastructure, then why is it an impact fee? Does it just go in the general kitty and then everybody gets to go with their pet projects, or do we have a defined area of impact for that? I don't know if public disclosure is available but I don't know what it is. So when they talk about impact fees and then cover it with a general blanket, I think we should have more disclosure there. It just got me thinking with this caller. Good question.
More coming up
Great
next.
Point.
You're listening to Dave Petzo, Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Having a great time with Dave Petzo here, the Petzo Center, Petzo Financial. Thought of you the other day. I decided to get a book. You get books at all?
Yeah, I do.
You know, you're so fiscally prudent that you actually buy the used books on Amazon.
Well, I actually, Kevin, the truth is I don't read very fast. I just can't read very fast. I read differently. And I had to go to summer school and all those things. So for me, I have to read so much during the day. It's great to get through that. So for me, books on tape are wonderful.
But you buy the used ones.
I'm worse than that.
Just go with me. Hold on. Just go with me on this.
Okay, yes, I do.
Okay. Yeah. So I was looking for this book by Bill Bennett on the consequences of legalizing marijuana, and it wasn't available on Amazon. So I went to Barnes & Noble, and I called the folks at Barnes & Noble, and they didn't have it, but they could order it for me. Well, I'd already looked on barnesandnoble.com, And the poor guy at Barnes & Noble, he had actually worse computers than I do here at the broadcast center because he actually, hey, can you give me the bin number? I did everything for him. And these folks, I felt so bad for them because they are such at a disadvantage compared to the click and buy something that you get with this automation from a platform like Amazon.
Yeah. Why was it not available at Amazon?
I don't know, but you go to Barnes & Noble, they had it in paperback. I bought it new because I'm bougie on that.
Yeah.
And it's funny because then they didn't send me an email or a phone number, so I just went by and picked it up because it got so frustrating when he said, well, can you give me this? Do you have this? And I've already remember, I'm like, I'll just come pick it up at the store. You don't need to deliver it to my house. And these guys are at such a disadvantage when it comes to beating the machine.
Oh, man. Yeah, they are at a huge disadvantage. But it is amazing out there how much stuff is super cheap or free and how much information is available. I mean, because you can go down to the public library, you check it out. You don't have to go down, right? You think, I have the app. I even poke on it. And I have books waiting. So it is, the opportunity to learn and grow is tremendous. Absolutely tremendous out there. It is. And I'm so happy there's so many people out there that take hours and hours, days, months to write, research their best thought. And I just really admire writers. Wish I could do it. Maybe one day. I've thought about it many times. I've got a couple books in mind, but Kevin, the kind of focus you have to have is just is overwhelming. I am just stunned that people can get it done. Dave Petzo joining us, the Petzo Center, Petzo Financial, traffic and weather together. Let's get you to work safely and on time. Good morning, Dave. Back with Dave Petzo, the Petzo Center. So what's going on that you'd like to talk about? You're still mad about the property taxes. Well, I'm always mad about the property taxes. If you ran for governor, you ran for governor, you wouldn't have to worry about this. Anyway, you wouldn't. I would be doing something about property taxes. That's the truth. I find it very frustrating because it is one of those areas that I don't feel that government is responsible at all or thinks ahead, like we were talking. It's the only business in the world, and government's not necessarily business, not for profit, but it's the only entity that never thinks forward, never plans, never has to have a rainy day fund. Just, that's all right, we'll deal with it then, and the next generation of politicians can deal with it, and that's the frustration. Kevin, I want to talk about something really great, though, okay? Can we leave it with that? I want to talk about the greatness of what's going on in the Middle East right now as compared to what would have happened 10, 20, 30, or 40 years ago. There's going to be a war in the Middle East, is what's going on. And you see what's going on in the markets. You see it with oil prices. It's a big... okay, that's not a big deal. Why? It was a huge deal in the 70s, right? If there was anything going on, we had the oil embargo, and it just absolutely destroyed us. Why? Because we were so energy dependent on the Middle East. And how geopolitically this has changed is absolutely remarkable. With technology and the ability to go ahead and actually drill a hole in our own country, we are now finding that we are now energy exporters, net energy exporters in the United States of America. That's why we're not seeing the spike in oil prices, and we're seeing that, and the geopolitical fallout from this is absolutely astronomical. It means that we are able to deal with the Russians in a much firmer way. Russia isn't continuing to be on a decline because the only thing they have is energy. They're not capable of doing anything else. And so this is a huge thing, and all those terrible, mean terrorists and all that, they're just not important anymore in the Middle East. This is what the markets are telling us. It's a big deal. Very positive. We'll leave it at that. Thank you, Dave. I didn't quite get a happy dance out of you, though. And you won't. My back wouldn't allow it. Dave Petzo, the Petzo Center, Petzo Financial. Check him out, Money Matters, Saturdays, 8 to 10, right here on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Maggie. Rolling right along, KIDO Talk Radio. Kevin Miller in the morning. Coming up, it happened over the weekend. Out loud and full of pride, thousands gather in downtown Boise for Pride Festival and the parade. Quote, it's pure joy. You can be yourself here, one attendee said. And quite frankly, are we missing something by not being part of the Priders? Or maybe you were part of the Priders and you'd like to share your thoughts with me at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. But of course, KIDO Talk Radio is your proud home for Fox News on the radio on 107.5 FM, 580 AM. We're joined by Jeff Monasso to talk a little bit about, Fox Wheels. Good morning, Jeff.
Hey, good morning, Kevin. Yeah, Tesla is planning a battle with the number one selling truck in America, if you can believe that. So CEO Elon Musk says the company's going to be taking on the Ford F-150 it basically says it's going to have the same towing rating of over 13,000 pounds in its new vehicle. We haven't seen it yet, but Tesla promises a sci-fi styling, adjustable suspension, a range of over 400 miles per charge, at a price that starts around $50,000. This thing is supposed to hit the market supposedly around 2021. I haven't seen it yet, though, so stay tuned. By the way, Elon Musk this morning says he's deleting his Twitter account, if that's important to you. A Massachusetts custom car body outfit, the name is Smith Performance, and so it's taking Beetles, VW Beetles, not the old school ones, but the newer Beetles, which they stopped production of. And they're turning them into a pickup. So they're offering these kits. They're called yurts. And so you buy this $3,000 kit, you chop the thing, and you put this little pickup thing, the kit onto the car. And it's pretty easy to do. You can do it in your garage. And you've got a VW Beetle pickup. And these things are selling off the shelf. And in fact, this company pre-orders, they're sold out. So if you've got an old Beetle laying around, an old newer Beetle laying around, you want to do something different to it, this could be for you. This company makes kits for the A4s, the Audi A4s, Hemi Chargers, which I thought was pretty cool, VW Jettas and Golfs. And so it's a Smith Performance out of Massachusetts.
We'll have to check that out, Jeff. We always appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Our great friend, Jeff Manasso, joining us. Remember, when you hear Fox News on the radio, you're listening to KIDO Talk Radio. Big weekend over the weekend. Here on KIDO Talk Radio, it was the Pride weekend. Your thoughts?
Formed Saturday with the colors of the rainbow on full display. Loud, proud, and full of pride. This year marks the 30th anniversary of the Boise Pride Festival. Thousands packed the area to take part in a rally and parade that means so much to those who struggled with acceptance.
It's just pure joy. You can be yourself here. That's been the big difference.
Yeah, there's that feeling of kind of comfort and safety, and you can just come in and walk around and kind of be yourself and be open.
A rally.
Now, again, that guy was dressed up in the rainbow Mickey Mouse ears with rainbow suspenders. And you remember when the rainbow used to mean Mork and Mindy or some sort of thing. But at 580-5436, 580-KIDO, is there really a need for the Pride Parade? You think about anti-discrimination laws. You think about how the country took a more leftist turn under President Obama, the legalization of gay marriage, the transsexual issue in the military. You have a president saying he doesn't care what people do in their bedrooms, social conservatives really being shunned, religious people being told to forget about 2,000 years of Christian doctrine because this is the way to go. Do you really need a parade talking about being safe? Are people being attacked here in the state of Idaho? I would argue that Idaho, especially the city of Boise, is the most tolerant state in the country because these things don't happen here. If they did, just like, a year ago when someone wrote a nasty note on somebody's windshield, that became the breaking news throughout the entire Treasure Valley. We had news anchors going, we don't tolerate that here. The racist. Well, certainly when you have all the Pride people coming up, people don't seem to mind it. You know, you've got Albertsons, you've got Wells Fargo, you've got the place that sells you the weed in Huntington, Oregon, sponsoring this thing. It seems to me that if big business is backing this, what's the big deal? And you have people just like with the illegals, in my opinion, making these allegations that people are discriminated against. I don't see it here. Do you? I do see that if you disagree, well, then you're a bad person.
Featuring city leaders like Boise Mayor Dave Beater, kicked off Saturday's events. Young and sweet, only 17. Then Boise Pride lined the streets for the annual parade.
This is one of the largest parades we've ever had in our history. 30 years ago, you were looking at a small event, maybe 30, 40 people arriving in anonymity. Now you're in the middle of the downtown core with almost 60,000 people.
People of all ages celebrated inclusion and diversity.
I want her to grow up knowing that people of any kind, any creed, any identity, that they're all part of this world and that we all should be getting along.
Zach Fulton brought his 4-year-old daughter Ava for the second year in a row.
Traveled and there's still a lot of hate and prejudice no matter where you go of every kind, and having her exposed to something like this, it's good to have everyone brought together.
All right, so as we've said before at 580-5436, 580-KIDO, do you feel a part of this group? How many people of faith? And I'm wondering about this. How many people just went out of town? And again, you have the media promoting this, but there's no discussion of people that say, I think that marriage should be between a man and a woman. I believe in my faith and their family values. I'm not down with Mayor Pete. I'm not down with the Democrats. I'm not down with this big parade. My personal opinion, I don't think that you need a parade because, look, it's over. The progressives won. And I don't see the discrimination in the state of Idaho. If one person were discriminated against based on their orientation, it would be front page news everywhere. People would be talking about it. They'd be condemned, and it would be game over. Checkmate Charlie. But that doesn't happen here. So we have this big parade, and everybody has a good time, and you have the major corporations behind it, obviously. And it's funny that you have corporations that will back this, but then they go after people like Sean Hannity or Glenn Beck or Kevin Miller. The irony in it, if you will.
And that you should know about this.
Too many times in Idaho, people get kicked out of their house. Their parents can't accept them. There's nothing that they can do, and that breaks my heart. So if you don't have a mom, you do now. And I want to give you a hug and tell you to take your vitamins.
Raising the next generation to be acceptant and be loving and tolerant of all of that.
All spectators beaming with pride.
I think the thing that we need to remember to keep in mind that pride is not just one particular.
Right. There we have it. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this at 580-5436, 580-KIDO, where you have this major parade covered by the media, where everybody's out, they're selling the rainbow, they're lighting up the state capitol. But where's the inclusion for people that say, it's not my thing? Are those people to be labeled bad people, to be labeled bigots, or have they just been put in the closet? We've reversed the closet these days. In the old days, you'd have the gays in the closet. Today, you have people that disagree with the rainbow lifestyle. They're in the closet. That's how I would see it. At 580-5436, 580-KIDO. We have that issue going on. Also, something that is gaining a lot of attention is the President of the United States saying, I might run for a third term. Now, he can't run for a third term because of the 22nd Amendment. But he kind of likes to throw that out there, kind of like the classroom instigator the President of the United States is. He just likes to throw these things out there to see whether or not he can get a response from people. And, of course, you're going to have people saying, this is why we need to impeach him. I'm sure Donald Trump would prefer to go back to Mar-a-Lago to have a good time being Donald Trump, as opposed to dealing with the idea that people are going to arrest him once he leaves office. Right? That just doesn't seem, rational. We're going to arrest the president after he leaves office. For what? We don't know. But we're going to throw that out there. Think about that. So how many people would actually support a third term of any president? I don't think so. I love that we have the 22nd Amendment because it protects us from people being in there too long, like Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And then you start following the man and not the process, right? President Trump has again mused about the prospect of staying in office beyond 2 terms when he was saying this about the LA Times, the New York Times, and everyone else. He broached the matter in the form of a question as part of a Sunday morning spat of tweets in which he unleashed one of his ceaseless attacks on the media. Maybe he'll stick around for much longer. Would you support that? We'll talk about it next. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio.
Every day that passes, the pressure to impeach grows, and I think that it's justifiable. I think the evidence continues to come in.
There we have it. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez urging fellow Democrats to impeach the president of the United States. Lindsey Graham saying this.
Mueller's the final word for me. Everything the House is doing is politically motivated. This is political revenge. And I think most Americans are ready to move on. To my Democratic colleagues in the House, if you bring up impeachment after Mueller issued his report, based on the Mueller report, then it's going to blow up in your face. You're hurting the country. You're being unfair to the president, and he's going to get reelected.
There we have it. More on that in a minute. Some political news going on. Mayor Pete Buttigieg has stepped off the campaign trail following a deadly police shooting in South Bend, Indiana. And Mayor Pete raising a boatload of money, $7 million in April alone. Could Mayor Pete be the one that could go after Donald Trump? The president saying he may save a third term. Getting your calls on these stories and more at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Back to this situation over the weekend. In the city of Boise, you have the Gay Pride Parade, another year, 30 years of pride. How prideful do you feel? How prideful are people that perhaps just sit back and say, okay, it's not my thing. I'm just going to move on. I'm going to get on with my life and do my own thing. And here's another thing. How many people think that they're persecuted based on their sexual orientation? One doesn't have to go far in the city of Boise when you have people with their bumper stickers proudly proclaiming who they are, who they're attracted to, who their mates are. And I would say that if you are persecuted that way, you wouldn't be advertising it on the outside. It's a role reversal. If you put a Trump sticker on your car, chances are it's going to be torn off. People are going to write nasty things on your car. People are going to say things. There is a double standard when it comes to people of conservatism, people of faith, people that support the president. Those people are not allowed to express their opinion, in my opinion. And then you have other people that gather lawfully, rightfully so. They have the mayor. Again, he's never met a ribbon cutting that he doesn't like, waving the rainbow flag, talking about the tolerant city. Why? Because he needs those votes to get reelected. He's got a tough reelection campaign ahead of him. He's got someone either to his left or to his right coming at him. That's never happened before, at least in recent memory. So he's out there with the rainbow folks, having a good time, talking about tolerance. If the city certainly is so tolerant, then what's the deal? Now, for years we had people saying we need to add the words. I don't think you need to add the words. 20, 30, 40,000 people prove you don't have to add the words, right? So that's my take on that. We'd love to get your thoughts, 580-5436. 580-KIDO. Is there really a need to do this, or is it promoting a lifestyle that people in their hearts, in their homes, in private conversations disagree with? But because of being afraid of being labeled something that is not flattering, they just keep their mouth shut. Traffic and weather together, and we sure appreciate you. So we're talking a little bit about your reaction, your review of the Pride. Do we really need the parades, and is there discrimination in the state of Idaho? I would say no. At 580-5436, 580-KIDO. And how tolerant are those folks that had the rainbow flags and speak of tolerance if you disagree with them? Do they allow people to go back and forth, or do they jump in and say, well, you're a bad person, right? Right? And do they condemn you for having your beliefs? In America, you are allowed to express yourself. In America, you should be allowed to just express any type of opinion. Truly. Whether it's popular or not. Now, the president, he doesn't like people that cough. Let's take a listen.
And let's do that over. He's coughing in the middle of my answer. Yeah, okay. I don't like that, you know? When you're chief of staff. If you're going to cough, please leave the room.
Get a shot of, and I'll come over here.
You just can't.
Just to change the shot? Okay. Sorry, Mr. Trump.
Okay, do you want to do that a little differently then?
There we have it.
When you will see my financial statement at some point, I assume it's going to be released, you'll be very impressed with the job I've done.
You're going to turn it over?
No, at some point, I might. But at some point, I hope they get it because it's a fantastic financial statement.
There we have it. The president continuing his comments on his finances, continuing his comments on how he's going to do being reelected. And it's funny that he jokes that he could go for a third term. If the economy continues the way it is, how many people would be shocked that he would float that? Now, again, at his age and knowing there is the 22nd Amendment, the 22nd Amendment that prohibits the president from serving more than 2 terms, why in the world would Donald Trump float that? He's an antagonizer. He's an instigator. He likes to do that. So we'll see how that plays out. Finally, this issue that we've been talking about, we talked about it with Dave Petso, home prices. Whether it's the governor's office, whether it's local municipalities, sometimes you have to say no. And when it comes to building new divisions, new subdivisions, new neighborhoods, new cul-de-sacs, whatever you want to call them, sometimes it might be best to say no when we're looking at the amount of growth coming in. Now, that might have a boomerang effect and the housing prices continue to skyrocket. It might help communities outside of the center of the Treasure Valley. But when we're looking at our limited resources and the fact that we don't have enough high-paying jobs here, I just wonder where people are going when they're looking at the idea of buying a home. You know, homes in Caldwell now, $300,000. The Boise Bench, a small, maybe 1-2-bedroom home, $400,000. This is not Silicon Valley as much as we would like it to be. Now, you might think, well, it's not government's place to pick winners and losers. Okay, I would agree with you on that, but it is government's place to figure out that we have a transportation crisis here. And that means an outer loop needs to be put in, more construction on the infrastructure roads that are crucial, alternative routes being created. Now, people are going to say, well, why didn't they do that before? You have people now that are fearful of being taxed out of their homes. So do you come up with, what was it, Prop 13 in California? Chris, who emailed in earlier, his taxes went up 64% in a year, and that's in Nampa. Do you think that the services in the city of Nampa or Meridian or wherever have increased 64% that justify sticking it to the homeowners? Now, this is where our legislators should be talking to their constituents, not when it's re-election time, and saying, we have a crisis here. And if we don't do something about it, we're going to have people being kicked out of their homes to live. I don't know. But I don't believe it's the role of government to tax people out of their homes that they've paid for or they continue to pay for, right? We'll get into that next. God bless you for listening. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio, 107.5 FM, 580 AM, your home for Fox News.